Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Pardon me, man. I thought it was technical difficulties this evening. I was gonna cut the show because I didn't think our brothers was gonna get on this evening. So I was like, oh damn. So I guess we're gonna have to come back tomorrow. But here we go. We got the brother Sharif. We got Mike on today. What's going on, everybody out there? Shalom, shalom. Let's go, Sharif. Asiatic soldier in the building. What's up, Asiatic soldier?
Peace.
So yeah, you know what? Let's continue the conversation in public. I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not? So, I was just talking about how I'm getting deeper and deeper into my studies right now. I'm studying in the morning and studying, and I'm training a lot, and I just see the sickness in our people is so prevalent to where it cripples our civilization.
Correct.
And the brother Sharif was saying that I'm more sensitive to this, or see, my perception is more sensitive where I can see things better than the average person, or more than the average person. And that is correct. And what I see is what I want to discuss tonight.
Right.
Hold on, Ron. That hat is peace. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. This is Carmelo Anthony edition, I think. Basketball. I'm not into the basketball and all that, but I know this is Carmelo Anthony. That's this hat. So yeah, that's why we're having this discussion, the creation of the Negro mentality, because everything I'm gonna say for this particular subject starts with the brain. It starts with the brain. So me from being a trainer, physical massage therapist, and things like that, I know a lot about the body, how the brain works, and how human beings tend to be a creature of habit. Is something that we just are. We get in the habit of every little thing that we do becomes a habit. And we have habits of reacting to personal issues. We have habits of talking to people in certain ways, and that aren't necessarily conducive for the environment or the interaction in general. And these things can turn into, or complete chaos, and turn into violence, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hence the reason why we have so much issue with each other and end up prison and da 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 da. But my whole point is it all starts from the brain. So I want to break down Negro mentality, the creation of the Negro mentality, and the brain. So the brother Sharif asked me to look for something called neuroplasticity, which is interesting to me because I'm glad he said that, because I knew about that for so long now. And I thought about it. I said, before I got into digging deeper into 120 lessons and Moorish science, before that happened, I was in my mind, you don't see it. People don't see it. But in my mind, I was a wild animal. And the only way I can keep that wild animal under wraps is training. And I said, yo, you know what? I need to do something else. Because as soon as I get out of training and I go into the regular world and I interact with people and I hear something that I don't like, or whatever the case may be, in my mind, I'm going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I said, I need something else.
Right.
So I need to change my brain through neuroplasticity.
Straight like that.
Okay. And the way that I began to do it is through studying 120 like every single day, and getting more engulfed and entrenched into 120 Moorish science. These are the things that are helping my brain and helping me deal with people in a more I would say peaceful manner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that in neuroplasticity. You brought that up,
Yes,
and then
sir.
I looked it up, right, and I said, what parts of the brain deal with neuroplasticity? It says the hippocampus, the
Yep.
cerebellum,
Yep.
and some somatosensory cortex.
That's right. That's right. And
Okay.
so what? So just in a more general perspective, like you said, you pretty much said it. How are you going to access the reality of neuroplasticity to change your brain? First of all, the fact that such a term exists, neuroplasticity, means that your neurological system is malleable. We can change it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's doing the changing? Is your brain changing your brain? No. The brain is being changed.
Mhm.
What's changing it? The mind is changing it.
Right.
The mind is changing the brain. Your thinking changes the brain. What changes it? Changing your thinking.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Changing your thinking. Let's brother Ron is a professional, fitness trainer. So let's say brother Ron has to teach a jab to a client. It looks all quirky and weird because you're just teaching it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But what do? Turn on some music, start a rhythm so that they can get a whole bunch of reps in. They get the reps in, and the more reps they get in, the better it starts to look. And after about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, oh, it looks pretty good. Well, is there a biological explanation of this? Of course, practice, repetition, but what does the repetition actually do? It builds neuromuscular connections. You are literally building new neurons.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Literally. Well, this goes for everything. It's not just for the physicality. It goes for the psychology too.
Right. Now, before you go there, just to add on to what you said. So the hippocampus, the area of the brain is responsible for memory, learning, and continues to create new neurons
Correct.
throughout life. The
Mhm.
hippocampus is involved in adaptive neuroplasticity, which is the process of maintaining healthy cells.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
yeah, so the constant repetition and things like that, that the hippocampus is, I guess, the focal point or the centerpiece
Mm-hmm. It
of
provides it
that,
provides it
that process.
provides the building blocks
Mhm.
that modify the brain structure.
Right.
It's like if you want to add a deck to the back of your house, you got to first go to the hardware store. That's the hippocampus.
Mhm.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But even before that, you have to have a blueprint of the deck.
Mhm.
This is the
Yeah.
mind, or in this case, you're applying a new blueprint to modify the mind. What is that new blueprint? In archetypal psychology, it's called mythos. Let's not get spooked out because you hear the word myth in mythos.
Mhm.
The moment we hear myth, we think something not real. Wrong.
Mhm.
Wrong. Mythos is analogous to archetype.
Mhm.
Okay. So what do you need? You need a new mental and psychological framework. And a mythos in this case is an entire framework designed to modify how the brain works overall, how you now see reality.
Mhm.
This is why occult orders, real ones, real esoteric orders, real ones, right? Real orders that deal with these types of things, they immerse you, they initiate you into a different world view. That world view is a mythos. What is it designed to do? change through neuroplasticity how your brain works.
Mm-hmm.
That is what student enrollment is. That is what supreme wisdom is in the Nation of Islam. That is what 120 lessons is in the 5% Nation. That is what the lection is, and in certain fraternal organizations. That is what the literature, the Moorish literature, is in the Moorish Science Symbol of America. Mm-hmm. It is designed to reshape your thinking.
So how do you know that people are not studying or living what they profess to be? Their ways and actions. Because if they're studying and they're keeping it in their brain and allowing it to change them for them to live it out, it's
going to come through their pores. You're going to know, even if they're not quoting lessons, you're going to know. Right? Another school of thought, we used to say understanding is the best part. Why? You ain't got to say nothing. I can see it.
Right.
That's it.
See what I'm saying? in another school of thought, Mikey's familiar, right? How do I know you to be that guy? Sign, pass, token of the pass, and the perfect points of my entrance. Watch me work.
Mm-hmm.
See? How do you know it? How do we say it in the Moorish Science Temple of America? Man must know, man must be what he knows.
Right. That's it.
We just compared language of art from 3 different schools of thought, 3 different mythoses, and that they all
mesh together.
Yeah.
Now, Jazz is and Jazz is on the check-in. Aside from the thinking, do you take into consideration what you consume as far as foods from chemicals that you put in your body? Of course.
You are what you eat.
Of course.
Shout out to Jazz.
Of course.
But I want to add a caveat to that, though.
Mm-hmm.
First, of course, yes, I say of course, I say that too. But let me add a caveat to that. We've been conditioned. Get a book called The Body Electric by Dr. Robert Becker. The foreword to the book is worth the price of the book. The book is priceless. But the foreword of the book is crazy because he describes, follow me, he describes how the Western mind, and especially the Western medical profession, the Western medical thinking has been polarized, right? Prior to the invention or the discovery of penicillin in the West, prior to the discovery of penicillin, even in the West had to consider the mind and the body of the patient as part of the healing process. Follow me. When they discovered penicillin and said, wait a minute, this little white powder can kill bacteria? All we got to do is just apply that? A great leap. But at the same time, it polarized the thinking. So now moving forward in the West, the medical mind sees medicine or the medical field as applied biochemistry. Now they don't care nothing about you. Here's my child. I'll see you at 3 o'clock. Fix him. Doc, I'm sick. Give me a pill. See? And many of us, even in our conscious state, still think this way. So we're like, oh, I need this herb, or I need, moringa, or I need ashwagandha, or I need da-da-da-da. Those things are good. But from our forefathers, our ancient forefathers' perspective, here's the perspective. The energy in your body is primary elixir. Anything you put in your body from the outside is secondary elixir.
I said Sagala.
Exactly.
That's that Sagala.
Right. Right. So there was something else I wanted to mention. So with that being said, we can go deep on this. Now, with that being said, a person, Kamala, she's Asiatic physically.
Yeah.
But what is she mentally, though?
European.
Globalist. See, good question. See, now
hold on, Bo. My point is
go.
My point is you can look like something, right? And not be, right? Just like you could
So what are we really dealing with in the larger scheme of things? We're not dealing with flesh, people.
Here you go. Here you go.
For real.
Right. Yeah.
For real. If anybody was paying attention to Lawrence Fishburne, schooling Keanu Reeves in the Matrix, when they were in the simulation walking through what looked like Midtown Manhattan. If any of you were paying attention, we was talking about the people that they're actually trying to save at any time, because they're so invested in what? They're invested in the foreign psychology. They're invested in the Matrix. They're invested in the artificial mythos that has us in this condition.
Speak on it.
See? They're invested in that. See what I'm saying?
Now, I didn't want to go all over the place, but this subject is something that I kind of want to write a book on eventually, right? Now, as far as conditioning, programming, right? Would you say we have many different programs, right?
Of course.
Okay. Now, how important is it for us to be more centralized and focused on one programming?
Because you need a CPU. You need a central processing unit.
Now you talking my language. That's it. Yeah.
You got to have a CPU, or else you can't do nothing with the software. The software are the different programs. You need hardware.
You need the hardware. Yep. The physical body, the brain.
The mythos is the hardware. See, you have to have a way of processing everything. Call it a CPU. You have to have a way to process the software. You got to have a way to process all the other programs.
Right.
In other words, you have to have a psychology that benefits you and not benefits somebody else at your expense. That's what we look at the education system.
Prison pipeline.
Straight like that. See? And you can go all the way up in that education system and it still does the same thing.
Better employees, nothing innovative.
Right. See that?
That's it. Drones.
So you need a different psychology. When we say Moorish science, that's what we're really saying. Moorish sense, Moorish psychology, a way of thinking that really benefits you. Really benefits you. But see, there's a prerequisite there. You got to actually know what benefits you. Like in another school of thought, what do we used to say? What is the meaning of civilization? Right. One having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, and refinement, and is what? Not a savage in the pursuit of happiness. Because some pursuits of happiness give added beauty, give added productiveness. Some utterly destroy you. See? You got to know the difference. That's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. The fallen Asiatic sons and daughters of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and know of their higher self and their lower self. Got to know both.
Amen.
If you don't know both, how you going to know the difference?
Now, as far as the creation of the Negro mentality, where would you say the origins of the Negro mentality come from? I say it came from white supremacy.
But where do white supremacy come from? I agree. But where do white supremacy come from?
I would say white supremacy came from the domination of the Moors.
Ooh. How did the domination of the Moors come about? I agree 100%, but let's go there. How did the domination of the Moors come about?
Not following the laws of their fathers, their forefathers.
Straight like that.
No way. Yeah.
But Mikey Viv almost quoted the Holy Quran of the Moorish science tool of America. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. Now, to put it to make it more historically, tight. The Reconquista was a success historically because we started fighting amongst each other.
As Hove said, no nation is conquered from the outside unless it's destroyed from within. And that's what happened. Egos. And this happens every day. You see it out here in the streets.
Yes. White, the origin of white supremacy was our own internal iniquity. See, if it wasn't, then we'd be giving Europeans way too much credit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
we'd be giving them way too much credit. See that? It was our own iniquity that brought us down. See?
Mm-hmm.
Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah? No. He is the shadow of our lower selves and will pass away. See?
Mm-hmm.
We don't chase the shadow. We deal with the thing casting the shadow.
So that means you're attacking the light.
Now that's understood. That's understood, and I agree.
Yes.
However, in more recent history,
Yes.
the programming that we're dealing with comes from white supremacy.
No, it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But we accepted it.
Yes. Perpetuated as well.
What people represent the lowest self? Those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accepted their teaching. We accepted it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Now, the acceptance, I think, comes from just being in an environment where it's become the norm.
And sometimes the acceptance came at the point of the sword, meaning we were terrorized into accepting. Right. I agree.
Constant trepidation.
Yeah,
keep you in that.
I agree.
As they say, they break your amygdala, keep you in constant trepidation and trauma where you don't have time to process things.
Mm-hmm.
You synthesize.
Like even today, the whole, and let's just be real, right? The vast majority of our people in America are politically and civically inept, politically and civically childlike in mind. We are.
Yeah.
We are. We treat political candidates like we're watching our favorite characters in soap operas. That's what we do. Straight like that.
And our ways and actions too. It's like I don't mean to cut you off, brother.
No, go ahead,
but like I'm gonna bring it up, but like King Tut, right? So I was watching. King Tut is out. Yeah, I know he was a criminal and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. However, he just reminds me of men I grew up watching. Like, correct. I mean, the man he is today.
Yes,
I'm not saying the man he was, but the man he is today.
Right.
He reminds me of the men I grew up watching, where the men were really men. You get what I'm saying? Now I don't know what's going on right now. Like with like men and everything like that. It's not the same. You get what I'm saying?
But you know what that see to me. I mean, and first of all, I agree with you 100%. But to me, that spells out our work. We got to make that type of man sexy again to society. You see what I'm saying? Like for real. And you know what we're up against? We're up against our own women. Aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Because they're getting a shitload of programs from the Matrix and all that.
Right. Brother, we're up against our own women. We're up against our own children. We're up against the social machine. Bro, the war is pointed at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us, Asiatic men. It's pointed at us, bro.
The conditioning. Because, can I keep it real, Reef?
Please.
Because, and I'm not bashing the sisters, they tend to accept a lot of things, tolerate certain things that should not be within the community. A lot of people don't want to be held accountable, and that's both men and women. And I'm gonna keep this so plain and so real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all had to, go through hardships before we grew up, and mature mentally.
Mm-hmm.
We still dealing with a lot of niggas and bitches. I'm sorry. There's a difference between
that's just
black
like
men and black women. Yeah.
We're deal. It's the Negro problem, bro.
Exactly.
It's the Negro problem. It is a, for lack of a better word, spirit that we are infected with. It's a foreign spirit. It's a foreign way of thinking that we've been infected with, and we got Stockholm syndrome. where we've
Exactly.
learned to love the foolery, bro.
Of course, we celebrate that.
At every level of it, even the subtle stuff, because a lot of the subtle foolery dresses up in fezzes and turbans, dresses up in waist beads, dresses up in suits and ties. Come on, let's be real. You see what I'm saying? It does.
You online dropping quotes online, faking the funk.
And so that's that. Listen, we have to be able to. And does that mean we're at war with our woman and vice versa? No. It means that we have to recognize that there is an energy that's throwing rocks and hiding hands.
Ron and I was speaking about that today.
Yeah.
Earlier.
And we have to recognize it, right? And see things for what they are, you know? Like one of the things that we've adopted from the foreign psychology is, I can't take it. We adopted it, is I don't agree with Mikey. Okay, we fighting. What? Because we don't agree on a topic?
Mm-hmm.
That was beef? Like, that's insane.
Yep.
That is literally clinically insane, but we do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we do
self-hate. Self-hate. You're projecting your self-hate. That's what it is.
We do it.
Now, the creation of the Negro mentality, starting with white supremacy, do you have any idea how did it start? Where did it come from? I mean, we could bring up
brother, I got a great answer.
Okay.
Because now I've been speaking to this. It's been part of presentations that I've done across the country for 8 years now. But only now am I seeing people posting this clip. It's a clip from over 8 years ago of this guy, Mr. Wong, Huang, Korean man. He was hosting a conversation with Jared Taylor, who's a very prolific white nationalist. It was called Conversations with a White, or Dinner or something like that, with Dinner Conversation with a White Nationalist, right? It was on Vice on HBO. And now everybody's sharing it now with Trump's reelection. And this is what it said. Listen, this is what it said. And this is what it said. The guy was talking about, Jerry Taylor was talking about how quote unquote white people are more intelligent than everybody else. And that's why they murdered so many people, because they just had the higher technology. And then the Korean guys said, wait. Chinese people gave you all gunpowder.
Yeah.
What you talking about? And then he said, but hold on. You're saying that you all are more intelligent and you deal with reason and you deal with logic, but you voted for Trump. That's what he said. You voted for Trump. Trump's whole campaign is based on propaganda and emotion. Jared Taylor did not disagree, but this is what he said. I voted for Trump and for one reason and one reason only. I'm quoting him now. He said his policies, if implemented, will slow the dispossession of whites in America.
I did see that. He said it out loud, but then he took it further, Brother Ron, and this is to answer your question. Right? The Korean guy was like, well, okay, your dispossession, okay, why is that a bad thing? We live in America. I grew up as a quote unquote minority. It's not, we weren't the majority. Why is that going to bother you? Why should it bother you? This is what he said. He said, why do I want my people to have less? Why do I want my people to know if they're on top? Why not work to keep them there? Why not work to keep them there? Wouldn't you do that? This is what he's saying. So to answer your question, or in response to your question, right? You're talking about a people that are outnumbered on the planet 11-1. White supremacy was the survival mechanism for people that are outnumbered 11-1.
Right.
See? Mm-hmm. They unify and say we're all white. We're not English, French, Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, whatever. And you all are not original people. You're this and you're that and you're that and you're the other, and you divide us, they unify, boom. There you go.
That's real.
So now out of that, the creation of the Negro mentality, I would say, starts with that dirty religion. I don't no disrespect. It just came out like that. I'm studying.
Let it out the bag,
Well,
bro.
It came from, I would say it came
let's
from
be real.
Christianity.
But hold on. Let's be very, 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 very specific. Right? Like we say, we want to make understanding understood. And so the way the prophet Noble Drew Ali said it, be not like the horse and the mule between whom there's no understanding. In other words, y'all just look alike. Get it? So I could say Christianity and you could say Christianity and the audience can hear Christianity, but are we talking about the same things?
Okay. Well, I'm saying that Christianity propagated by the help.
Rome.
Exactly.
Constantine.
Right. That's right. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
It's a different animal.
I was gonna add to that, Reef.
To really hear that illustrated or hear that fleshed out, go to YouTube and look up Roland Martin's conversation with Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer literally says it. He goes, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I'm a cultural Christian. And he, in so many words, he basically says, my idea of Christianity has nothing to do with, listen close. Basically says, my idea of Christianity has nothing to do with morality, has everything to do with identity and conquest. That's what he said.
Very much deep.
So let's not get tricked. See? We have to make sure we know exactly what it is we're speaking about or what other people are speaking about when they say certain words. Just because they're using the same word doesn't mean they're talking about the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Right. So now what I'm talking about is Rome Christianity. I'm talking about talking about the Council of Nicaea.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about the primary mechanism that created white supremacy.
Exactly.
Let's just call it what it is. Now, if you want to Google it, for the viewers, Google these two words, Christian identity. That's it. That's it. Google it. See what you find.
And then so what happened is the European went into these different lands, whether it be Africa, the Caribbean, and of course over here, and they indoctrinated us with these teachings, and we pass these teachings on, through generation, not understanding that not only is it a mindset programming, but it's also a culture to go with it.
Okay, I like what you just said.
It fractured the psychology, and they weren't conditioned; they were forced.
Yes,
it was forced upon them.
Yeah, it's called colonization.
Right.
Yeah. Right now.
But I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to make reference to is how is it passed from hundreds of years on into now?
Mythos. This is the power of mythos and archetypes, people. Same thing as the power of symbols, right? What is the power of a symbol? A symbol is a means by which we can convey tons of information very accurately over thousands of years. An archetype does the same thing. A mythos does the same thing. A narrative does the same thing. A narrative does the same thing. Okay? When you look at the whole hero complex, right? The hero complex, the guy that wants to sacrifice himself to save the world. Why are we so enamored with the hero? You know why. You know why. We can say the name, can't we? Jesus.
Yeah.
It's the Jesus narrative. But let's take it a step further. Why does that affect us so deeply, all of us? Why does it affect us so deeply? Because it's an archetype buried so deeply in our psyche. That's why. That's why. That is why the teaching of Jesus is so powerful and so effective on such a deep level all over the world. But that's why Rome had to hijack the identity and teaching of Jesus to rule the world for the first time.
Yep.
That's why. See what I'm saying? Because the Jesus 2,000 years ago followed the archetype. That's why people talk about, there were 16 world crucified saviors before him. Yeah, that actually validates the historical Jesus, because the archetype is the archetype is the archetype. He followed the pattern. The pattern is more important than the personality.
Yep.
The pattern is more important than the personality. We're looking at the personality. When the personality is doing what? Pointing to the pattern.
Right. In the practice.
And the practice.
Christ consciousness.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Like, for instance, I'm saying practice because Jesus, they say that he prayed 40 days and 40 nights. No,
brother, you
fasted 40 days.
No, that was perfect. See, we're all enamored with the result of his work. Nobody wants to do the work.
Right.
But to do what he did, you have to do the work. Everybody wants the beach body, but don't nobody want to. All right, you see what I'm saying? They want the result. They want the effect without the cause.
Yep.
See? The enlightened pay attention to what the enlightened did to be enlightened.
Right, exactly.
The mundane and the profane are just satisfied with the results of the enlightened.
You gotta do the work.
See?
You gotta do the work.
That's it. If we're from a psychological perspective and a sociological perspective, it's only a small percentage of people that actually go, oh, let me pay more attention. Okay, you're very wise. I admire your wisdom. How did you become so wise, though? See, only 5% ask those questions.
Yep.
What did you do to become wise? See? The others are just content to be led.
Right.
They rather just listen, as you.
And that's okay, because
rather
everybody's
just
working
follow
out
the
their
program.
own life sums.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just where they are.
Exactly.
And I think and that's a liking to what you just said, the personality and the patterns.
Right.
So their pattern is the pattern that existed for time memorial. And they're just in that field of consciousness.
Right. You can, if we were to use, like we were using computer lingo, the pattern is the program. Pattern's a program. Now imagine listen.
Let it roll.
Yeah, the pattern is a program. You see what I'm saying? So neuroplasticity is, to oversimplify, you changing your program. But you got to load it up. You have to, you get what I'm saying? You got to put the work in. This is where practice repetition comes in. Like what you're doing with those lessons, like what you're doing with your literature and with your studies. Because what are you doing? What's the symbolic phraseology used to describe practice and repetition in the book of Revelations? Eat the book. That's it. Eat the book.
Now, in the process of me doing this, it's like I can see everybody. I can see everything. And I'm just like, oh, wow, and
how did Mikey say it? You are what you eat.
Yeah.
And I'm less emotional about things that occur. Now,
it's because your perspective is wider.
Right.
Exactly.
Your mind is expanded. In other words, real medicine, you ain't got to believe in it for it to work. See what I'm saying? Real medicine, all you got to do is take it. That's what you're doing. You're taking the medicine. And because you're taking the medicine, it's doing what it's designed to do.
Right.
It's changing your perspective. Your brain is changing.
Exactly.
So now, I know you've been through this already like 1,000 times, right? So, so no, I'm saying like you've been through different schools of thought, right?
Yes, sir.
And so when this stuff happens, hold on. So I think somebody hit the nail on the head, and you can't unsee it once you start and you detach.
You cannot unring the bell.
Yo, it's
You
like,
cannot unring the bell.
yo, I'm
That's
just
it.
like looking at everybody like, whoa, hold on. Like,
You can't
nah,
unring the
no, no,
bell.
no, no. Go away.
Yo, what Ron was saying, to add on to what Ron was saying, it does, you do detach from it, what the sister said as well.
Yeah.
You become less emotional. Everything with me is more logical.
Mm,
It's in sequence.
right.
You know, I got to get to the root of it, the core. I just don't want to go on the, scratch the
Yo,
surface. I
bro,
want to go deep.
I'm,
Like I look at people, there's some kind of insecurity they're going through,
Mhm.
a complex they're dealing with, or just a misunderstanding. So when
Just a
people tend to elevate, they get their voices loud. I'm like, they want attention. This person's feeling weak, and I'm just gonna sit there and look at you.
let's do but to both your points. Let's do a quick what if.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a quick what if. Let's take morality.
Mm-hmm.
Morality. Our morality is shaped by the narrative, the program we've accepted.
That's a fact.
All right. Let's take funerals. Funerals in the present social structure are very sad things. But what if you accepted fully the idea that man is not the body of the soul, that our flesh is just our clothes, and that man can't die? What if you accepted that? What would happen at funerals for you?
Celebrations.
Straight like that.
Mm-hmm.
What would the rest of today's society think about you attending a funeral? He's heartless.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
cruel. He's mean. That means you have a different morality. You have a higher form of morality, people. See how that works? How would that change your everyday behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, it gets better. Right? What happens today if you don't plan to save money to pay your bills tomorrow? What happens? The lights go out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now you got some crazy circumstances, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So think of lifestyles like a day. What if in the previous life, the previous incarnation, you planned poorly? What happens today in this lifetime? Now think about people who are born with certain deformities or have other issues or whatever, and we're like, oh, that's a cruel God. Why would God?
I always, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Now I want to reel it back to creation of the Negro mentality. Now we spoke about it coming from this, first of all, we're the mothers and fathers and mothers of civilization. So,
That's right.
everything comes from us. But then in more recent history, you have white supremacy. White supremacy did what it did through the brainwashing of Christianity was the main culprit that they helped that they colonized us with.
Right.
And over the years, time went on, and how was this maintained? And was this a diabolical plan, a psychological plan, as what the Willie Lynch letter says?
I like that you brought up the Willie Lynch letter because I was going to bring it up, right? You have some people, real quick, you have some people that'll say, well, that Willie Lynch didn't exist. He's not a real person. Therefore, that's a bunch of nonsense. The first part might be true, but the second part absolutely is not true. So, let's just say, for argument's sake, Willie Lynch didn't exist. The conditions spoken of in the letter definitely do.
The methodology, it works. The methods work completely.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it's irrelevant. It's just like when we talk about Jesus, people say, oh, he didn't exist. Man, okay. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he didn't physically exist. The conditions do.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to deal with him whether you believe he existed or not. See? The conditions do. See? So the whole diabolical plan thing, let's go back right to the origin. So we talk about white supremacy and this and the third being the linchpin for global Euro dominance, what we're looking at today, right? The world we grew up in. It wasn't able to get a foothold without our own internal degradation and fall. How is it maintained? The number one way it's maintained is our hate for ourselves and each other.
Mm.
The
So
very
you
thing
that came before white supremacy?
Of course it did.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely. We can point at very specific. Here we go. Historically, Western civilization, what's its origin? Moorish history, period. Moorish accomplishments, period. Period. But what happened? The Umayyad dynasty brought in all these great and wondrous innovations, algebra, trigonometry, you name it. All these things, all these advancements in science and culture and everything. Then the Abbasids took over from the Umayyads. Infighting started. Internal intrigue started. The empire broke up into what they called taifas, all fighting against each other. This is what allowed the Reconquista. The Reconquista people is the 500-year period during Moorish or African occupation and dominance in Europe. The Reconquista was the Pale Europeans' efforts to regain control of Europe over their African lords. That's it. But it wasn't until we started to fall apart from the inside that the Reconquista was able to gain motion. This is world history, people. This ain't secret.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it was, bro. Think about now, fast forward to today. Why is Watts? Why is Southside Chicago? Why are these places, New York City, Operation Red Bandana in the 90s? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking federal RICO cases, racketeering, influence, corrupt organizations. What is the way that RICO works? They go after the leadership of the street organizations and they break up organization.
Exactly.
The crime is the ability to organize. What do you need to organize? Love and unity.
That's it.
The protection of the Morish movement is this. We organize under the 5 greatest principles known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yep.
Which means we have principles. We're organizing under high principles. We're not organizing under criminality.
Exactly.
There's the protection.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that maybe one day the powers that be come after us directly, openly. But that's an act of desperation on the side of the opposition. Why? Because the power of devilry is to do what it does while maintaining the illusion of the moral high ground. That's why we say in our questionnaire, when was this time declared out? Answer: when he nailed Jesus on the cross. In other words, when you openly persecuted an obviously innocent person.
Yep.
You set your own retribution in motion.
And said, "Give us Barabbas."
That's right. You see what I'm saying?
Can you repeat that?
About what? What part?
You openly persecute an innocent person.
An obviously innocent person.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously innocent. In other words, wait a minute. This is a religious organization. These people are in this thing to cleanse their souls, but they're organizing. And we know that the number one issue is them organizing. We got to stop that.
The birth of COINTELPRO.
But how? Thank you, brother. Straight like that. But how do we do it while they're not? We got to corrupt one of them on the inside.
Yeah. Gene Roberts.
See what I'm saying? We got to corrupt. Yeah, we got to corrupt one of them. See how that works?
Yeah, see, that's crazy. That's like a drunken master sitting on a stoop, smoking a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So that's why the protection is our adherence to the principles. That's the protection. See, it doesn't mean that listen. It doesn't mean you won't bleed. It just means that if you bleed, Time's up. See?
Yeah.
Because the power of devilry is to make evil fair seeming. When you see the devil pop out with the horns and the pitchfork for everybody to see, that means he's losing bad. That means he's losing bad. See? That's what that means.
There are many parts of making the Negro Reef, as we mentioned. The language, your education, as you said, the narrative, the conditions, but most importantly is the language.
Yeah, because the language shapes what? Thinking.
The thinking, yeah.
We're right back to neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're in a war of narratives. We're in a war of way of thinking. It's called the battle in heaven, the war in heaven, in the elevated spaces.
Yeah, higher principalities.
That's right, brother. Yep. That's where the war takes place, in between your ears. See? That's where it takes place. Right. So, before we got on the air, we were talking about, in some respects, it looks hopeless, especially when your eyes are open. You're like, man, we don't realize how deep in the soup we are.
Man, yo. Man,
it's not even in the bowl anymore. It's on the floor.
Yo, right. I'm looking like, yo, do you understand how serious we have to be as Asiatic men? Like, we have to really tighten up for real. So I'm just like, I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do now. Like, I mean, I know what my duty is,
Not only the men, the sisters too, man. It takes both to make a nation. It can't like we supposed to defend it like as bees do it. They protect the queen, but it takes both to work. We got a lot of work to do as a people. Our mental condition is terrible, as Reef said earlier.
How are they gonna? They supposed to basically follow us.
I like this one brother. He's a security specialist, and Brother Ron, you do martial arts. I teach martial arts. I also do security. He said it to this one sister. Yo, the sister was gritting her teeth, but she couldn't disagree. She tried. She tried real hard. I'm this and I'm that. Y'all are just scared of a strong woman and blah, 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 blah. And then in the same breath, you men ain't around when we need the protection and da, 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 da. Y'all know what he said? It is impossible for me to protect something I can't direct.
It's that simple. Like, it's that simple.
Choose that. And see. Listen, before we got on the air, what I said, as bad as things are, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it this way: the Moors, that means our people, not members in the organization or in the movement, our people. He said the Moors are a hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious people that have never done anything except at the point of a sword.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you already know. So listen. Let me just say this, and I want to be very clear. I want lots of people to hear this and really hear me. The Christchurch shooter down in New Zealand a number of years ago, Dylan Roof, the Buffalo Top shooter, all of them were using a boilerplate manifesto, pretty much saying the same thing. They were giving instructions. Do you know one of the most commonly quoted instructions from this manifesto is? When we start killing quote unquote black people, we go after the women. Know why? They said because they're soft targets.
Yep.
What do they know? They know that our sisters, you know the rest of the story. They know that they're exposed. They know they're exposed. You see? They know. So I hope, I pray that it doesn't get, but we're already seeing it. How many times you've seen on social media where you see these rabidly racist Europeans, men in the face of sisters?
All the time. Easily.
You don't ever see them do that to no brothers. And you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Call me Samuel L. Jackson.
Man, listen. You see what I'm saying? You know why. But what do they know? See? They know that our sisters, right?
Oh, boom.
Okay. They know it. So I pray that things don't get too much crazier for sisters to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm independent and all that. And I don't, but you know what? I do kind of need that too for a few things.
Oh, that happened during the pandemic. I've seen it. I went to supermarket when I was out there doing my thing as a man.
Yep.
I seen how many of them were like, damn, can you help me to the car with this? I was like, wow, really?
But I'm talking even something more drastic. Like, look, they're targeting us because they are.
Hypothetically, say it's something like Project 2025 happened, right? Yeah, of course. You're gonna be forced to work with me.
Oh, you have no choice.
Yeah,
but see, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and again, a lot of times we downplay this term title prophet. What is a prophet? Someone who prophesies. What is prophesize? Foretelling the future.
Yeah.
What's the value of that? You know how to plan properly. So when he said, I'm going to make the European enforce my law, oversimplification, you're going to see blood on the streets, and then people are going to find some act right.
I mean, I think that things are already bad enough.
Oh, they're about to get there, man. They just not, man. You see the act up already starting, don't you? Already starting. At the federal level, federal law enforcement and other agencies are on alert for a sharp increase in racial hostility nationwide.
Oh, man.
See? Already. You see what I'm saying? So, we're going to be made, sadly, the way it's looking, we're going to be made to act right. And that's sad.
That you got to be made to act right.
We're going to be made to act right.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's what it takes, man. I'm sorry.
Hey,
like the hard head make a soft body.
I'm with you on that, bro. Like, I mean, it's about time. Like,
but bro, okay, see, that's your point. See, some people will hear us talking, saying these things, and say, "Oh man, y'all talking scared business." Nah, not me.
Nah.
No. Not at all. Not at all. Two things: an ounce of preparation's worth a pound of cure. The other part, silence is power. See? My life ain't on social media. Social media is a tool. See? And I'm not talking about no quote unquote revolution. That's not what we're talking about here.
That's long gone.
We're not talking about that.
It's long gone. You can't have revolution if you can't feed yourself.
You want to see a real revolution? How about we learn to love each other on sight?
That's a fact.
How about that? See, let's try that out for size.
Yeah.
How about we learn to
people
love
start
each other?
melting.
Right. How about we learn to love each other so much that we don't put up with no foolery with each other, from each other? How about that?
Like I gotta say, this may sound crazy and racist. As of lately, I haven't been speaking as articulate because I'm tired of seeing my people in this condition.
Yeah.
Time to put the nigga to bed.
Straight like that. Of course, yes.
Put the nigga to bed.
Yes.
I'm tired of the Negro.
Put the diva. Yes. Put the so-called diva to bed.
Yes.
Put the bad bitch to bed.
Yes. Yeah.
We're done with this.
Bed. All of it.
It's stupid.
Because we already know. Again, we have a prophet. You already know. We're gonna be made to do so if we don't. Yo, I remember when I was I think I was 7 years old, and I was living with my mom again back in California, and she had a boyfriend, and I couldn't stand this dude. He ain't like me, and I ain't like him, right? And he used to smoke weed in the house. And I remember mom had said, "Yeah, you ain't gotta listen to nobody that does drugs. Don't listen to people that do drugs." So one day he's in the house watching us, right? And he said, boy, go take that trash out. He was watching this. Go take that trash out. I ain't even move. You ain't hear me? Take that trash out. I said, I ain't doing nothing. Oh, really? And then I quoted Mom. Mom said, we ain't got to listen to nobody that does drugs. He looked at me. He smirked. He looked at the TV. He said, you know what? You're right. I can't make you take that trash out, but I could definitely make you wish you did. That was enough for me because I knew it was 4 more hours before Mom came back home. I took that trash.
I thought you hit him with the baby boy because I got heat for dudes like you.
You know, right. Feel like baby boy, right? But nah, you know, it's we're gonna be made to do so, people. It's far better to get ready before you're made to get ready. You know, get ready.
I'm getting ready, starting off with my own mind and training.
Well, guess what happens, Brother Ron? You already know how this goes. When you change this and change this, it radiates through your pores. You ain't got to say nothing. People start changing around you.
Exactly.
Don't they?
Yeah.
They be like, yo, you different. Yeah. Yeah. You know? But that's where it starts. That's where it starts. And it's just like, remember we were saying off camera, we were like, yo, you know, it seems like this is some insurmountable stuff. And I said, nah, it seems like that in some respects, but in the grander scheme, it's not. You know why? Because you can't unring the bell. There's 2 ideas on the scene right now. And this is the War of Armageddon. Yep. See? Can't unring the bell. The idea that you have, the idea that I have, the idea that Mikey has, it ain't going nowhere, even if our flesh does.
It's there. It's there.
Ain't going nowhere. That's why Jared Taylor said what he said on that show on Vice on Vice on HBO. He said, yeah, we get this guy in office. His policies, if they're implemented, they will slow the dispossession of my people, of his people. Didn't say it would reverse it or stop it. Yeah. Said it would slow it.
It's gonna happen.
You already see where this is going. What is the number one social issue domestically and now internationally? Race. Number one. See? You see one of the recent things that Trump spoke about?
Nah.
Doing, which they already started it in the South. DeSantis already started it. Now it's going to go nationwide. Right? He's using the blanket term equity. Right? Wokeness. Right? What's he really aiming at? Quote unquote Black history and slavery instruction in higher education. Talking about schools will lose their endowments and the endowments will go to, listen to what he said, the people who've been hurt by this racist or discriminatory education. That's Europeans, people. Reparations for so-called white people because you want to teach about your history.
God bless.
So now, as a people, what do you say we should do to prepare for the future? Because whether we have a catastrophic war and it's straight chaos, whether it's that or whether it's like we're working our way up to it 10 years from now, what should we do to deal with all of this?
Find like-minded people. Learn to work
together. Man?
Learn to work together.
It's like a small amount of
well,
people.
It's only small now.
Yeah.
It's only small now. Drastic times call for drastic measures. And time and what Prophet Noble Dreali taught us this, right? Power changes as the ethers change. change. Ethers meaning conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Let them conditions change. Let's go back to the biblical vision of Ezekiel in the Bible, when God told him to prophesy to the dry bones in the valley. He said, "It's bones." He said, "Do it anyway." Meaning what? Teach, build. He starts building. What happens? The bones assemble, boom, and stands up an army, but they don't move.
Mm-hmm.
So now Ezekiel complains to God about the fact that they assemble, but they ain't moving. And then God says to Ezekiel, "Don't you worry. When I send my wind, they'll move."
Metaphors.
The wind's about to whip us.
Mm-hmm.
The winds are about to whip us. When the conditions change, you gonna listen. You gonna see sisters. You gonna see sisters become a lot more compliant, not because they necessarily want to, but because they want to live a few more days longer. Same with us. Morality will not be a thing that's nice to do. Morality will be a survival tactic.
You must do.
You better do it or you're getting recycled.
That's it. I'm with that approach.
Right. Come on, we've all been in situations where we had some ego and some pride, and then the conditions changed and we found some act right real fast.
Hell yeah.
Real fast. So fast that it shocked other people. Like, wait a minute, I thought he didn't know how to act right. I guess he does. He has some principles in there somewhere. See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jazz says, as you change your way of thinking, the people will come. Trust me, as I elevated in my spirituality, the people showed
No
up.
doubt.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
Let's think about it, people. What created Black Wall Street? What created Rosewood? What created Springfield, Illinois prior to 1921? What created these Asiatic, quote unquote, Black cities? Two things. Yes, we have industriousness in us. Of course we do. We built the country. But what else? The winds, Jim Crowism. That's what did it. We ain't have no other choice.
Yeah.
We had no other choice, people. What happened when we got the choice via integration? We walked away from it. We thought somebody else's grass was greener and ice was colder. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Integration destroyed these places, among other things, redlining and all these other things too. Sure. Remember when the architect was speaking to Neo in Matrix Reloaded? He meets the architect and he talks about how there's been a number of different versions of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
How at first, the first one failed because they tried to create what they thought would be a human utopia. Make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Failed. Then they said, okay, we'll do one that's like hell. That one failed. Right? And then the solution, he said, was stumbled upon by a more intuitive program. In other words, who? The Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Said, this thing can work if you give them the illusion of choice.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's what integration did.
Mm-hmm. Seeking approval.
Because they didn't integrate the money.
No.
Right.
Didn't integrate politically either.
Right.
All right. See?
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
See?
Now, on that note, another dope episode. I don't know if you could keep doing these creations of the Negro mentality. I think we should keep going. Part 1, part 2,
There's a lot of layers to this thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers.
This is the biggest problem.
I recommend a book right
ever.
here.
Hold it up. Woo, for real.
You know what I'm saying? Self-hatred and self-defeat. Dr. Amos Wilson.
Absolutely.
You see where it comes from. And Shazar Ali misses the black man saying the black woman. You understand the psychology, what's been passed down from generations.
I'm gonna quote what Nelly Fuller said.
Well, stay away from them, right? Stay away.
Stay away from them.
Yeah. He said you got less than he said, well, he said again 12 minutes to be around your people. And it's true. We could be in a crowd. It's always some ignorance that's gonna break out.
We have to develop zero tolerance for our own foolery, people.
And it's tolerated.
I'm trying to work on, like, even me personally, man, listen, me like everybody else. One of my exes said it this way one day. She, beautiful sister from the Bronx. She was from East Tremont, right? And I saw her, a little tiny dainty thing, man. Her son came home from college one day and he did something she didn't like. She rocked him to sleep so smooth. He came in the house, kissed her on the cheek. She gave him a big hug. She went back in the kitchen to cook, singing while she was cooking. He went in the bathroom. She's still singing. Grabbed an umbrella, opened the door, and wore him out with the umbrella. Came back out, started going back to the kitchen singing like nothing happened. I looked at her like, whoa. She looked at me. She said, I got 10,000 maniacs in here. You just saw one of them.
Wow. That's it.
Bro, I got mine. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I know I do. So I'm working on you're right, sis. Same. I'm a hermit. This is, in other words, what did Jesus do when he first started his divine ministry? Went into the wilderness for 40 days.
I'm there. I'm already there. I'm in the wilderness right now.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
Right. Yes.
Word.
Yes.
Yo, I only got time for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? and there's people around us. I know my demons, man. And you know what I've done? There's a prayer, an Islamic prayer, and part of it says this. I love this part. Matter of fact, whenever I say it, I almost tear up when I say this part of the prayer. It says, I've been greatly unjust to myself and confess my faults.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I know my demons. And then I think about how often I entertain people that I allow to tickle those demons.
Yo, it's funny, Reef, because I said something like that too.
Yeah.
I said I became familiar with my jinns, and I know my godly power.
Come on, brother.
But I'm cool with my jinns. I still shake hands with my jinns when I have to.
But we have to. We have a higher self and a lower self. That is
I kind of like my jinns a lot.
Well, listen, I can admit to the fact that I like some of mine, but that doesn't mean that's good to the fact that I like them. You know what I'm saying? And I can admit that. I can be honest about that.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying?
I dance with them when I have to. It sounds we Millie rock like, all right, let's do this. The other day, brother Ron and I was talking. So much love I got for Ron. Brother Ron and I was talking on the phone, and Ron had to call me like, yo, whatever you're doing. He's like, nah, clip that. I'm like, you know what? And it put me back to I had to reel myself back into
brother, but that's the brotherhood. We need that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're right, Ron. I'm like, you know what?
Yo,
we're blessed, bro. We are blessed. But I was a Negro for a moment. Yo, I was a Negro when I was like, yo.
Listen, we all listen. We all need that, right? That's brotherhood.
Yeah.
We need that.
I'm like, yeah, Ron is right.
You know what I'm saying? We need that, bro. We really do. To be able to check each other. You know what Marcus Garvey said about that? The propensity of the Negro is to disobey orders coming from himself. That's good. We gotta we have to first be on the path of holding ourselves to a higher standard and then holding each other to a higher standard. And I have to be willing to accept that checking from my brother. See?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be willing to be like, you know what? Brother Ron called me and said, yo, bro. Yo, you can't do that. I can't be on what the Negro would say. Who this?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They want that.
Right.
And no, we don't got time for that.
Exactly.
Jazz, I do it a lot.
Yeah.
I like to listen to the birds right outside of my window.
Absolutely.
And it's like I live around nature and all that. So
ground yourself. It's too cold for that now.
Right.
It's too cold to ground you, but I used to love grounding myself.
Right. But with the topic real quick before we cut loose, bro. You know, again, mind, your thinking, your will shapes not just the brain, but your neurochemistry. See? Your mind does that. Your mind can do that. So if your mind can do it, your mind better. That means you have the responsibility to do so. See?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, we have a wrong thinking here, which produces a hellish reality here. To change the reality here, we have to change the thinking here. That's it.
Indeed. Indeed. Thank you all for checking us out this evening. Really appreciate it. Another one from GS Sharif, Anil Bay, Mikey Fever in the building.
Peace.
We on tomorrow, 7:00. And you know, that's just pretty much it. You know what we do every week. See y'all
Same here.
tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.